Most landlords in College Station, Texas make their pet policy based on one thing: fear. They picture this: a trash unit, ripped up carpet, scratched doors, and they think, nope, not gonna happen to this guy. But here's what they're missing. Thanks to Texas A&M, we have a lot of renters, students, families, professionals, and they're all moving here. And believe it or not, 58% of them have pets. So when you say no pets, you're not protecting your property, you're just cutting your potential tenant pool in half. Now, I managed hundreds of rentals for my mentor. This is a portfolio he built up over 4 decades. And he taught me that his enormous wealth was built on the foundation of a pet-friendly rental. Now, here's the spoiler alert. It's not because he loves dogs, which he does, but it's because the math doesn't lie. So in this video, I'm gonna show you why banning pets is the most expensive mistake you can make as a landlord. And then I'm gonna give you 5 practical steps to safely open the doors to pet owners. Of course, without losing sleep over having a trash unit. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the math. So let's say you've got a house rented out for $2,000 a month in Bryan-College Station. You list it with no pets. Well, right out of the gate, you just eliminated 58% of your potential renters. That means fewer calls, fewer showings, and fewer applications. Every week that house sits vacant, well, that's $500 gone. Poof. Now the landlord across the street, he says that pets are welcome with a $500 pet deposit. His inbox is flooded with inquiries, twice as many as what you have. He picks the best tenants from a larger pool. He collects the $500 up front, and his vacancy, maybe it's a few days instead of a few weeks. He's saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. That's a lot better. But here's the thing. You can't just say yes to pets and hope for the best. You need a system. So here are the 5 steps my mentor taught me to make sure you move in the right pets into your units. And real quick, before I dive in, if you're running into roadblocks and you need help getting your first or next investment property here in BCS, shoot me an email with the word START in the subject line. Send it to info@schwartzrealtygroup.com, and I will personally respond to you and get the conversation started. Okay, let's get back into pets. Number 1 is gonna be smart pricing. You see, most of my landlords that I work with instinctually think that they should tack on $25 or $50 a month per pet in pet rent. But that's an outdated strategy. When you have pet rent, you're basically nickel and diming your tenants every single month, and every single month that's gonna build resentment, friction between you and your tenants. And guess what? The kind of tenant you actually want, the one with great credit and a steady job, they'll have no problem paying extra for a nice pet-friendly home like the one you have. But when they see $50 a month in a pet charge, they're gonna think, this landlord is just trying to squeeze me. They're trying to nickel and dime me. So instead, I recommend that you charge up front either a fully refundable or non-refundable pet deposit. So that could be a $300 per pet non-refundable pet fee paid at day 1, or a fully refundable $500 pet deposit, of course returned minus any damages. This will cover most of, if not all of the damages that a pet could cause without creating the monthly friction between you and the tenant. Number 2, you need to set boundaries. You need to have a pet policy because you don't want to say yes to every single pet in every single pet owner situation. You need to have comfortable limits. So what's my pet policy? Well, we usually limit our units to 2 to 4 pets and under 100 pounds in combined weight. And this varies based on the unit specifically. So if it's a second floor, it's different than if it's a first floor. It's different if it has a backyard, and it's different based on the size of the unit, but that's set up front for that specific unit to make sure that the number and size of the pets match the specific unit. In short, we are allowing those tenants that have a dog, maybe a cat or a second dog, but we're not allowing tenants that are trying to run a petting zoo. The important part is I'm not turning away a great tenant because they've got a golden retriever. The important thing is you're setting a pet policy that's set in stone, set for that unit, and you're consistent with that pet policy with anybody who inquires or applies for the property. This way, you can say no to that tenant who's got 3 cats, 2 dogs, a snake, and a parrot in your second floor unit. Hard pass on that because we already set the policy that says, nope, not acceptable. Number 3 is the pet addendum, and this is absolutely non-negotiable. If you allow pets, you need to have a formal animal addendum attached to your lease. I'm not talking about some handshake agreement. I use a specific animal addendum that covers 4 critical things. Number 1, the animal's information. And I mean everything. The type, the breed, the name, the color, the weight, the age, the gender, whether the animal has been spayed or neutered. Are rabies shots current? You want to know which animals are living in your unit. Number 2, I want to know whether the pet has a history of aggression, and I want that tenant to sign off on that statement. Of course, terms, my addendum requires the tenant to disclose in writing whether the animal has ever bitten or injured another person. If the answer is yes, you bet we're gonna have a discussion if the pet is gonna stay or if it's gotta go. Number 3 is animal rules. These are spelled out clearly in my animal addendum. Dogs and cats must be confined by a fence or a leash when they're outside. All other types of pets must be caged at all times. They have to pick up animal waste. We're not gonna have 1,000 landmines all over my backyard. If you want more specific rules for your unit, this is gonna be the place to add them. And number 4, this is a big one, liability. The addendum states that the tenant is responsible and liable for any damages to the property caused by the animal, any personal injuries to a person caused by the animal, and any damages to any person's property caused by the animal. The tenant agrees to protect, defend, and hold you, the landlord, harmless from any damages, costs, attorney's fees, and expenses caused by the act of an animal. So if that dog bites somebody, the tenant carries the liability, not you. This is also super important for your insurance. Speaking of insurance, step number 4 is to check your insurance. This is the one that catches landlords off guard. You might be totally fine allowing pets, but your insurance policy might have hidden breed restrictions. So they might have what they call a restrictive breed list. A lot of policies have an aggressive dog exclusion. So pit bulls, Rottweilers, maybe Mastiffs. And here's the kicker: if a restricted breed bites someone on your property and your insurance doesn't cover it, that means that you're on the hook. So before you update your list saying pets welcome, call your insurance agent, ask them 2 questions. 1, are there any breed restrictions on my policy? And 2, are there any aggressive dog clauses that would void my coverage? If the answer is yes to either one, you need to decide whether or not to switch providers or adjust your pet policy accordingly. Don't skip this step. This is the difference between a profitable, pet-friendly rental and a lawsuit where you have to foot the bill. And step number 5 is to understand the difference between pets and emotional support animals. This is where landlords get themselves into legal trouble. Under the Fair Housing Act, an emotional support animal, also known as the ESA, is not a pet. It's a reasonable accommodation for a disability, which means you cannot charge a pet deposit for an ESA. You cannot charge pet rent. You cannot charge a pet fee, and you cannot deny housing based on the ESA. Now, you can require and verify an ESA letter. You can deny an ESA if it possesses a threat to safety or causes property damage. So these are all good things, all things you need to know. And if you want to know more about ESA, you need to check out this video right here. So let's recap. 1, charge up front, either a deposit or a fee, no pet rent. Number 2, you set clear boundaries, clear pet policies day 1. Step 3, you use a formal pet addendum with rules. Step 4, check your insurance for breed restrictions. Step 5, know the difference between pets and ESA under the Fair Housing Act. Now, my mentor built this enormous wealth over 4 decades on this foundation, not because he loves dogs, which he does, but because he loved the math. The more tenants, the higher the demand, the lower the vacancy, the more cash flow in your pocket. And that's way better than an empty unit and a no pet sign. If you want to know more information about investing in Bryan-College Station, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And until I drop that next video, you take it easy.